Hello? Can you guys hear me? Hello? Can you guys hear me? Hello? Can you guys hear me? Okay, how about now? Can you guys see me now? Okay, how about now? Okay, so this is the first time I'm trying to stream after testing it a while back. Okay, so this is the first time I'm trying to stream after testing it a while back. Okay, so I guess today is a good time to just come on and say hello to everybody. Hope everyone is safe. Um, I'm working from home now, so that I have more time, sort of like to do gardening and stuff like that. So I hope you guys are having a good time. Is a good time to just come on and say hello to everybody. Hope everyone is safe. Um, I'm working from home now, so that I have more time, sort of like to do gardening and stuff like that. So I hope you guys are having a good time. There's a lag on my stream. I'm not sure how I can fix that. I'm working from home now, so that I have more time, sort of like to do gardening and stuff like that. So I hope you guys are having a good time. There's a lag on my stream. I'm not sure how I can fix that. Okay, see if that works. Can you guys still hear me? Okay. Yeah, there's a big delay, Michael. I'm not sure how I can fix this. So I'm just gonna keep talking and see if you guys can hear me. But yeah, I just wanted to come on and say hello and uh, maybe talk about stuff that like we can grow indoors these days. Since we're trying to do some social distancing, maybe it's a good time to take some stuff inside and grow some plants indoors for maybe a few weeks. So this is just an open discussion. I don't have any topic at the top of my head. Are you guys do can hear me? I hope you guys can hear me. Yeah, this streaming thing is not working too well today. So right now I have a few plants grown indoors in hydroponic. Some are in soil, and it's actually pretty fun. I mean, I'm doing a lot of things. I have small plants that I'm growing and experimenting with, and you know, this is the best time to sort of like experiment new stuff. I'm crossing new things and uh, growing new varieties and stuff like that, keeping them really, really small. So, are you guys growing anything right now? Yeah, I think Twitch might be a better option. Or maybe I should try Facebook too. Facebook stream is probably better. Okay, I'm gonna try to read some comments and maybe get some topic ideas. Yeah, there's a lot of people are starting to grow a ton of stuff right now. I think I have around maybe 10 varieties this year. I'm growing cucumbers, melons, cantaloupes, cucumbers. I think I said that already, and a bunch of peppers, of course. I'm also growing spinach. Let's see what else. Some pak choi. Those are always great. And I have a bunch of um, shiso. You guys have you ever grown shiso? They're these herbs that are like really really neat and they're really pretty as well too. What kind of watermelon am I growing? I think they're Jubilee. I'm not sure. I lost the tag, but I harvested a few melons last year, and I saved some seeds, but I forgot to label them. So I think they're either Jubilee or something else. And I'm always growing a ton of herbs because we use a lot of them. I always have rosemary available, and I have a lot of sage. Basil is always a big thing in our family. We use it like crazy. Thai basil, sweet basil, and I have some. Let's see, some other exotic herbs like the crab claws herbs that you've seen on my channel. I posted a few times. Okay, so I'll go to the comment. Yeah, arugula. Yes, of course. Arugula is always a must grow. It's like to me, it is the best vegetable to grow because you can start it very early in the cold. Um, it does really well indoors as well. It doesn't like take a lot of space. And yeah, I mean those are the types that you can like cut a few leaves and just allow it to grow back. And then you can also eat the flowers. The flowers are like the best part of the arugula, in my opinion. I mean, that's my favorite part. Yeah, growing yellow Carolina Reaper. Yeah, I've grown yellow Carolina Reapers before, and man, they're beautiful. They taste pretty good too, and they're not as hot as the regular Reaper. Any recommendation for growing Reapers indoors? Yes, Reapers are, especially the red kind. They're very picky. So you need good soil. soft and fluffy, nice drainage. They don't like their feet wet all the time. They need a certain temperature to produce fruits. If it drops below like 70s, they sort of like don't do too well. Also, if you grow in reapers in hydroponic, you're not gonna get too many fruits. I mean, I've tried it so many times. It's just those things are really picky. So but they grow like crazy though. You're just not gonna get too many fruits. It's just so many factors that it takes a lot of your time. Like you gotta check pH constantly. You gotta check for the appropriate lighting and all that. So if you want to grow peppers indoor in hydroponic and you want to harvest a lot, and you don't have a lot of experience in hydroponic, I suggest you grow like the Thai varieties, because those they produce under any conditions, so you get a lot of fruits like without a lot of maintenance. Oh, Sean said he boiled his soil. Yeah, that may be a good way to deter fungus gnats. But yeah, I mean, if you're growing indoors, try to use the type of soil that um, that don't have fungus gnats. Like if they keep the soil inside, like those little bags, those usually come pretty gnats free. And the ones that if you go to Home Depot and they're just outside, those are the ones that you're gonna get gnats in. Because all it takes is one gnat, and then you're gonna have like 100 in very little time. Um, yeah, Thai hybrids. I think anything that is an annuum variety, they're really easy. Um, I mean, I've grown like the white Thai varieties. Those are our favorites. I mean, we love those things. I mean, I think I'm growing 10 plants this year, just the white Thai because we use it that much. And like our friends and families, they love them too. Yeah, you definitely should try to make your own cross, especially now because we're not going anywhere for a few weeks or maybe even months. So grow something indoors. You can get like a light setup, and then you do hydroponic. Finbar Milan, thank you so much for that super chat. Yeah, I think now is a great time to just do things inside, start experimenting. You can actually grow a lot of vegetable indoors. I did a few videos on growing lettuce inside, and you can harvest over and over and over. So you don't have to cut the whole lettuce, just cut a few leaves, and then they just grow back, and you harvest some more, and you have like maybe 5 to 10 of those, space it out every 2 weeks. Then you have an unlimited supply of lettuce to grow. Hey there, Brad. There you go. Brad. If you guys need any light setup, talk to Brad right there. Hidden Harvest Grow Lights. I'm actually using his lights right now for all of my grow, except the AeroGarden, of course. But the things that I have in my tent, I'm using Brad's newest grow light, the HH200, and I think he has up to like 1,000 watts. But I mean, the 200 is plenty enough for what I'm using right now. But yeah, he's in the chat, so you guys want to talk about grow lights? The man, Brad, is here. Yeah, you can you can isolate and still garden outside. Yes, of course. Do do step outside. Get some sun. That way you don't go crazy staying indoors for so long. Yeah, I love stepping out in the garden on my free time. Just look at the plants grow. Watch the bees and all that stuff, and I actually enjoy it. Right now we have these little anoles, like these little geckos. So every time I go out there, I see them. It kind of make me happy seeing these lives. They're just all over the garden. And my fruit trees, I have like four pear trees, the Asian pears, and they are doing amazing right now. I mean, the flowers are beautiful, and I just like to go out there and look at the flowers, take some pictures, and sometimes share it with you guys. Yeah, I also grow lemons. I have a lime tree as well. So yeah, I have a bunch of cool things that I can't wait to show you. I also have a persimmon tree. Man, you guys, if you have not grown persimmons, Home Depot and Lowe's will sell these sometimes. They call the fuyu persimmons, and all you need is one tree. It produces so many fruits. They're delicious. I mean, if you have not had fuyu persimmons, go to the Asian market sometimes, when things calm down, and get some persimmons. Once you try it, you're gonna want to grow your own. Those are amazing fruits. Um, I have a tree, and like every year, it produces like 20 to 30 fruits, and the tree is like under 6 feet tall. Yes, Trey, persimmons. Yeah, you should look it up. They call the fuyu, Fuyu persimmon. Okay. Hey, Albert Einstein, I recognize that name. I think you're one of the winners of the recent seed giveaway. I hope you got your seeds already. I sent those off, I think a week ago, and a few people have already gotten theirs. I may try to do more giveaways. That way, um, it'll give people opportunity to grow some stuff. Do something inside or maybe in the backyard. I don't have a videos on persimmon, but I think I have probably shown it in my garden tour. But yeah, so maybe I'll do a persimmon video. I mean, they're really easy tree to maintain. They don't really need a lot. Any type of soil works. I mean, we're in Texas here, and we have like clay soil, and a lot of the other fruit trees would, not do well. Like I was trying to grow these key limes, and they keep dying because sometimes we get rain all the time. These past few weeks, I think for the past 2 weeks, we get rain every day. So it's like drowning some of my fruit tree out there. But persimmons are fine. They just grow like crazy. Oh, and this year, I grew two pear trees from seeds, and they're around 1 year old now. I started them in hydroponic, and it kind of like boosted their growth. And then I took them outside and put them in the ground, and now they're just pretty big. And then I recently grafted one of them. I took one of the mature branch with flowers and fruit on it already, and I grafted onto this 1 year old or maybe 1.5 year old uh, pear tree, and it's actually sticking. So hopefully it'll stay alive, and then I may give you guys some update on the graft. Oh yeah, there's a few people from Texas here. Yeah. Um, I guess in Texas, our weather is really nice. I mean, until you get to like July and August, where it gets up to the 100 degrees Fahrenheit. But right now, it's really nice. Our seasons start really early, so you can put your plants out as soon as probably like beginning of March sometimes. Um, my peppers are already outside right now. I have about 10 pepper plants that are outside right now. Tristan, yes, the grafting, it's very much similar to the ones that I did before, and peppers. I did pepper grafting, and the pear tree graft is basically the exact same way. I use very simple things. I use these saran wrap. I cut it down the middle and just stick the branch in. Same thing as the way I did my peppers. And one time I had a pepper tree that had like 9 grafts on it. Oh man, it looks beautiful. And so I decided to move it out into the soil, and then I left it in my tent in the winter time, and then I went out of town for a few days. And then during that time, my electricity went out, and the lights never turn on and off. And then when I got back, the tree was dead. It was really sad. I mean, it was like a really nice looking tree with like 9 grafts on it. Yeah, Luke, I should do another Frankenplant. Those things are really cool. One time I grafted a white devil's tail onto a chocolate scotch bonnet, and it produced like two different type of fruits, two different opposite color. One is white and one is chocolate. It looks really neat. Hey there, Gary, South Africa, huh? Thanks for tuning in. What zone am I in? I'm in Texas. I think I am in zone 8A, I believe. Yeah, 8A. Uh, I haven't been paying attention to chat. Sorry, guys. Let's see. Have I ever made hot sauce out of the white Thai? Yes, I have. It's actually good. Nice flavor. It has a really unique scent, sort of like aroma to it. So if you grow white Thai, we make a lot of Vietnamese dishes, and then I just put the white Thai in there. We make like this fish sauce, and which is a really popular sauce that Vietnamese people always make, and that is the best type of peppers to use for that. Also, with my white Thai, I make kimchi. I put them in kimchi. Um, I think I made a video on how to make these radish kimchi before. You guys should check it out. If you make it, it's really good. I basically put peppers in almost anything. I put it in, of course, kimchi. If I make pickled onions or pickled anything, I put peppers in there. And another thing that I use peppers for is to infuse like my vodka. I think I made a video on that too, and infuse vodka with a certain varieties of super hot. Oh man, it's amazing, you guys. It smells fantastic. Um, of course, I hope you guys are all 21 to drink, but if you are, try to get some nice vodka. We live in Texas, and Tito's is a great type of vodka to use, and I always use Tito's. And I mean, I put like one time I had some lemon starburst in there. I had a infused Tito's with Reapers. Oh man, it's crazy. Yes, infuse C tray. You should look it up. One of my videos, I made an infused vodka video. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It's pretty nice. Uh, yeah, 29. Good. Then you can definitely try it. Um, I tried peppers in bourbon. I'm not a fan. Peppers in bourbon, it does not work well for me. Um, it worked much better for vodka. And I think one of the viewer reached out recently, and he said he made gin with super hots. So maybe gin works well, but for sure not bourbon. I would probably not do that again. Yeah, you infuse Carolina Reapers. Yeah, yeah, with vodka. Yep. Uh, I did it a few times, and also I grew a Brazilian ghost, the red varieties, way back a few years ago, and I infused it with vodka. And we had parties, and I brought the bottles out, and I asked the friends who wants to try some, and like most of them said no, but there's a few like daredevil, and they would try it. I mean, man, we were like rolling on the floor, stomach hurting. It's really crazy, guys. So if you do try it, be very careful because these things are really hot. The alcohol sort of preserve the peppers, but also it extracts this capsaicin. I think 100% extract, I believe. and it's very, very hot. So, you could get stomach ache, you could throw up and stuff like that. So, do be careful if you're old enough to try this. Make sure just test it out in a small amount before you take a shot of it. Yeah, yeah, it's not a pleasant. I mean, I have stomach cramps and everything. It's crazy. But the weird things about peppers is that sometimes you eat it and like you're on fire. You kind of like lose your mind because it's so hot. But then after the heat goes away, you want to try again. It's crazy. I think it's like what they call the peppers or capsaicin high or whatever. Sometimes in the moment, you kind of like feels your fingers and your knees and I mean everything is like tingling. But then once it goes away, you just want to eat it again. It's I guess that's what super hot does. Yeah, and so every time I eat peppers, I mean, I was like, man, I'm never gonna do this again. But then, once it fades, I do it again. Do in the incandescent light tube for heating seeds tray. Incandescent light does work to heat, but it also draws a lot more electricity. There are heat mats that you can use. You can buy these. I have a heat mat that fits into my 2x4 tent. It lays on the bottom, and it's perfect. It just fits right in, and it uses very little wattage. So I plug it in with my lights, and then when the lights turn on, the heat mat turns on, and that works really well. Yeah, there are certain type of lights like in the past I used CMH, and those lights produce a good amount of heat. And CMH works great in the wintertime because it keeps the tent like completely warm. But also CMH is very powerful. I mean, it's just super bright. But it does draws a lot of electricity. Now I'm using LEDs. I'm actually using Brad's Hidden Harvest company grow light right now, and so far, I mean, I really really like it. It works great for what I'm doing right now, and it fits right into my tent. So I don't have to shift the light around. It just fits. You know, it forms to the shape of my tent. So I think that's a great design for those that have like longer tents, like a 2x4, 4 feet by 2 feet. Yeah, LEDs are probably the best type of grow lights right now because it's very efficient. Also, it's gotten a lot cheaper over the years. So, LEDs is just, um, yeah, it's just great type of lights to use overall. Hey there, Mr. Pig. Yeah, so I like to grow in my AeroGarden. I'm not advertising for them, but I think those that follow me, that you guys know that I love the my AeroGarden, and I actually have two of them. Um, and I don't even use the base, like uh, the container where it stores the water. I take that out, and then I start growing little mini peppers. Let me take it, and I'll show you guys. Here you go. It's like a show and tell. So the arrow garden, I'm in my work area right now, my workspace, and so I'm growing next to my arrow garden, and I make these little containers here, and I have a ton of them. And I mean, they're produced. You see all these peppers here, just on a little tiny tree or plant. And this one here, this is my newest one here. I'm waiting for it to be ready so I could do a review on it. So this is a chocolate variety, and hopefully it'll turn out chocolate because once you cross your peppers and then you grow a lot of plants, some will turn out different colors. So it's really you look forward to these things because it's crazy. So let me show you some more. I have a few more. So this is the one that I just showed in the latest videos. This is the smallest pepper plant that I have, and look at this, guys. This you see those fruits down there? It's crazy. It's not even big. Look, I'll show you how big it is. See, that's how big it is. But and you get so this is how I cross my peppers. I grow a bunch of these little things here, and I take two and I pollinate each other, and it works really nice because you do this in a controlled climate. So a lot of you get a lot of success because you, indoors the temperature is constant, and also you have decent grow light, which I use the AeroGarden for that. And as I mentioned, when you cross peppers, it's very, very important to have the right temperature and the right lightings, because without those two, you're not gonna get good success. You may get, once in a while you get success, but the rate is gonna be very low. So uh, good lightings and proper, temperature always helps with propagating or cross pollinating and all that stuff. Um, uh, Let me see. John Dyer about the spectrum. You know, full spectrum LED grow lights has all of the reds and all the spectrums of lightings that your plants would need. So most of the LEDs these days, they they have that. So you don't really have to worry too much about do I need to get a bloom spectrum or a grow spectrum and stuff like that. In the past you may have to, because that's when on older technology where you have a grow spectrum, and then once your plants start to bloom, you got to switch the light bulb to like this the bloom spectrum. But now you don't have to do that. You just buy the LED lights. It says full spectrum, and it usually will work for most of the stuff. Your grow stuff, and also the intensity of your light, like how high it is to your plants. Um, I usually keep my lights very low because peppers are very different than growing vegetable. Uh, to keep the pepper plant nice and stocky and like really short and strong, it has to have a good amount of lights per day. So you want to keep it as low as you can, but not to burn the plant, of course. Just test it. And if you see that the plant is burning or whatever, then you have it too low. If you see that the plant is reaching, so there's node between the plants. Let me show you. So each of these little thing is a node right here. If the gap between each node is too large, that's because there is not enough lighting. So make sure to lower it. So you want it nice and an inch or less between each node, because if it's more than an inch, then your plants are stretching to get more light. Let me see. Let me go to the the chat. I haven't. Yeah, let's see. 65,000 K LED shop lights. I've used those before. Those works well. Um, I mean, I have great success with those as well. 65. They put 6,500 K. I think that's what is listed on there. Yeah, cayenne peppers. You can grow in 1 gallon and they will produce just fine. The super hots. I recommend size for super hots is going to be around 5 gallons at least to get a decent size plant, because super hots can grow pretty big. I mean, they'll grow as big as the space you give them. So if you give them more space, they'll grow humongous. Uh, Especially like Scotch bonnet varieties, reapers can get pretty big. A few of my crosses last year, like the Texas Scotch bonnet, those things are just enormous. What LED lights do you recommend? Like depends on the size of your plant. You can get uh, also the size of your tent as well. If you're overwintering, then you don't need that much. When you overwinter, there's a trick to overwintering plants because you really don't want them to grow too much. So to overwinter plant, you want to keep them nice and warm above 50 degrees, but don't keep it more than 50 degrees. Like if you have your room at 60, 70s, 80 degrees, then you're basically letting the plants grow. You're not overwintering. So overwintering, you want to keep the temperature in the 55s to 60 degrees because you want them to slow down. You don't want them to grow. And also, you give them like just a few hours of lights a day, and you don't want to water them all the time, like once a week or once every 2 weeks because they don't drink at all. Also, cut them back because the less leaves they have, the less they would drink, and then they just sleep. And then next year you can bring them out and they grow all over again. I have 6 plants that I overwinter. I just chopped them back. I think I have a video on the way, so I'll show you guys once it's ready. But I overwinter 6 plants, and I just chopped everything down to basically like a few inches left. Wow, 60-gallon fabric pot is huge. Oh yes, so yes, what your question about growing plants in those Chick-fil-A cups? Yeah, I have a few actually right now that are grown in the Chick-fil-A cup. They can get very, very big. So it's like you put 2 cups in one. You poke holes in the top ones, and then you grow it in there. And when you water, the water would drain through to the second cup, and then you can save that water and reuse it. That way, all the nutrients is not leached away. So it's a great method to grow peppers. A Chick-fil-A cup is a pretty good size, and if you have a smaller varieties like a Thai varieties, you can actually get a lot of fruits off of just a little tray, a cup like that. Uh, when you're growing outside, you have to cut the bottom in order to free the roots. Uh, I'm not sure what you mean by that. Are you putting them in your raised bed, or are you keeping them inside the cups or the pots? Because normally you don't want to trim any roots because roots is the plants is really dependent on the roots. So the more roots, the better they will grow. So usually don't cut the roots unless like you grow in hydroponic where the roots are kind of rotting, and then you want to like rehabilitate and try to bring it back. Then you can cut the roots, but you normally don't cut the roots. When you grow it in DWC, okay, your pepper plants went amazingly, but they stalled. Uh, yes, that can happen when you grow in DWC. For those that don't know what DWC is deep water culture. Sometimes they will produce well, and then they get to a point where they're gonna stall, and that's because the roots are shocked for some reason. Most of the time, when the peppers are like stunted or stalled, when you grow in hydroponic, 90% of the time, it's because of root problem. Um, it could be that your nutrients is out of balance. You need to clean out the container. Your roots are rotting, or it could be that your pH is not correct. So you got to check your pH, especially when the pepper plants are fruiting, because during fruiting stage is a lot of people don't realize that peppers, they during the fruiting time, they tend to take up certain nutrients quicker, and then they leave the rest behind that they don't need. So if you keep refilling and refilling, then the nutrients become out of balance and toxic. And when that happens, it'll stunt the root, it'll shock it, and it won't allow the plants to take up the proper nutrients, and then it would stall or it becomes sort of like stunted. So clean out your container. Make sure the roots are nice and clean. Any of the residue that you have in there, make sure that you have your oxygen set correctly because you're growing DWC. And make sure your pH, because during fruiting, pH jumps around all the time. So it jumps like basically maybe every 2 to 3 days once the plants are fruiting. Okay, so I think the chat is slowing down. Let me scroll up to see if there's anything I can answer for you guys. I've been missing this. What community page am I on the most? I think I'm mostly on Instagram. Just follow me on Instagram. I post there more often than anywhere else. The next place that I post often, and sometimes I don't post, but I'll go on and check every once in a while, is Facebook. So come to Facebook. Just you can probably see me there every once in a while. I hardly check messages on there because I don't get on too often, and when I do get on, I just post, answer a few things, and then I get off. So you can reach me on Instagram. That's probably the best place. Okay, let me answer some questions here. How long can you keep super hot seeds? You have it all sealed up in a baggie. With just a little baggie, like the little coin bag, you can actually keep the pepper seeds for over 3 years. But as of course, I mean, that's my experience. I have seeds that are 3 year old and they will grow just fine. But you have to keep them dry. And also, the older your seeds, the longer they may take to sprout, and also they may not sprout at all because they're really old. But easily 2 years at you can have your seeds in those bags and save them. White peppers harder to germinate? No, they're actually about the same. Uh, the I think a lot of times people struggle with sprouting seeds is because you order the seeds online at these large companies, right? And so these companies, they can't just harvest the seeds last season and sell it to you. They probably had a stash somewhere in the warehouse, and so those seeds may be 2 to 3 years old, and then they may not germinate or they may take much longer to germinate. So all peppers are the same. If they're fresh, actually not the same, but they're very similar. They will sprout between 7 to 10 days because every season I start my seeds. Regardless of what varieties they are, even the ones that people say are very tough, they sprout with 7 to 10 days. That's because I harvested the seeds last season and I sprouted them. So a lot of times people say that it's hard to sprout these seeds. It's probably because you purchase seeds and the seeds are a lot older. Do I ever soak the seeds before sowing? Yes, I do. Older seeds, definitely soak it. You can soak it up to 8 to 10 hours, and then put them in the soil. The soaking the seeds does help, and also when you soak the seeds, it kind of soften the shell. Like sometimes when you start pepper seeds and they have those helmets, a lot of the times it's because the seeds may be the weak seeds, or it's because the outer shell is so dry once the plant shoot out of the soil, it becomes so dry that it can't break open of the shell. So soaking the seeds will reduce that. Mr. Pig asks, can you save seeds in an air sealed bag? Yes, you can, but really you don't need to do that unless you're going to save your seeds for like 3 to 4 years. I think most people, you just save it for like 1 or 2 years and you can just grow them. So, I mean, I guess if you have the means to do it, then definitely do it. But really, you just put it in a little baggie. I have baggies laying everywhere, and they'll be fine for up to 2 years, maybe even 3 years. I have a few seeds that are 3 year old, and they will grow. Uh, you heard that it's best to soak seeds in black tea. Yeah, I hear that too. But really, as I mentioned, you don't really need to spend all the extra time or extra energy or extra money. Just make sure the seeds are fresh. They will sprout in just normal conditions, you know? There's no need to waste your time on the tea or, like any other ways to try to like help the seeds grow because fresh seeds will grow regardless. So, yeah, I mean if you need to do that, definitely do that, but really you don't have to. Hey, Aaron from South Africa. Wow, we have a few folks from South Africa today. Man, I hope you guys are all safe and well. Uh, I think I named this stream indoor growing because lately that's what I've been doing a lot of, just indoor growing. And I hope you guys are having a good time doing that as well. Um, grow lettuce, guys. Indoor grow with lettuce is a lot of fun. If you have kids, try that with them as well. I mean, it grows really well, and you have lettuce plants in no time. Um, I grow arugula with my baby. She loves going out to the garden and just pull up everything. I'll give her some seeds and she'll toss them all over the grass. And now I have like arugula just all over my grass. What about using hydrogen peroxide to soak the seeds? Yes, I have done that before. It's actually a pretty good idea to do that if you purchase your seeds because sometimes you don't know if the seeds are clean or like disease free. When you soak them in hydrogen peroxide, of course you have to mix it with water. Don't just soak it straight up. I think it's like you can do like like half a few drops of hydrogen peroxide in a little container. It should work. Yeah, hydrogen peroxide will help. I think boost the germination rate too. That's what I heard. I'm not sure about how true that is, but I do that. Yeah, Mr. Pig. I do have a lot of peppers grown indoor. They're great. It's nice to have peppers anytime you need it. You can just pick certain varieties that produced a lot, and then you can have peppers like the entire winter. Just every now and then, pick one. I pick a pepper like every few days to use. It's great. Are you in our essay group? What is the essay group? I'm not sure. Sorry. I'm in a lot of groups. I forgot what, but I don't know what essay stands for. Okay, so I'm gonna go and read some more comments so I can answer some for you guys. Oh yeah, you guys. There's a. I'm gonna show you guys something real quick. So I also do a lot of propagation, and all I use is this little container here, and this is just plain water. And you cut a branch. You see those roots? That's how I propagate peppers. So every season I would grow peppers, and sometimes I grow a variety, and I didn't realize how good it was or how good it is until they produce fruits. And so once they produce fruit, it is so good, and I only have one plant, so I wanted more, and I'll just cut a branch off and then propagate it. And then in no time, you get more plants. So when you cut a branch off of a mature plant, then it produces fruits very, very quickly. So you get like, a unlimited supply of the peppers that you like. So I recommend that if you do have a variety that you really, really love and can't get enough of, or if you want to share it with your neighbors, your friends, just cut a branch, put it in water, and then propagate it, and then get more peppers. How much bourbon do you use in hot sauce? Oh man, bourbon and hot sauce are like the best combination, guys. I made some recently, and man, it is amazing, and it's very simple. You don't have to add a lot. I think like for I usually make around 3 to 4 bottles at a time, and I put like a maybe three two tablespoon in there, just enough to have that aroma and a slight flavor. You don't want to overwhelm it. You can actually even make the bottles first and get a medicine dropper and drop like maybe a few milliliters of bourbon in there and just shake it up, and that works as well. You don't have to cook it with the sauce and everything. Just drop it in there, shake it up, and it's good enough. Whatever happened to the Franken pepper? I discussed it earlier, so I'll tell you guys again. So I had a Franken pepper tree that has 9 grafts, and so I wanted to grow it in soil because it ran out of space in hydroponic. And I took that soil, I put it in my garage, and I went out of town for a few days. And then my electricity went out, so the light cycle didn't come on. And then when I came back a few days later, it died. So it was a really sad time because it was a beautiful plant. Have I ever grown bonsai pepper plants? Yes, I have. I'm not a bonsai professional, but I do have plants that I can, make it into a bonsai. I think I showed it to you guys before. I'm see this is a good variety to do it with because that's how small it is, and you see those fruits down there. So these little varieties are great for making bonsais. Oh, and this is the newest thing that I'm growing this season. This is called the Pepino melon. You guys have grown pepino melons before? They're really unique. They grow to a size of about a pepper plant. That's how big they get. But they produce these beautiful melons, and they taste really unique. It's like they're not very sweet, just enough. They're like eating a cantaloupe, but with no sugar in it. So that's I'm growing a few of those this year, and once they produce fruits, I'm going to show you guys. They're really unique varieties of I don't know if they're called melons or whatever, but they're called pepino melons. Yeah, Mr. Pig, you should definitely make your own frankentree. It's a lot of fun. So what I usually do is I would grow multiple varieties, and then when you top the pepper plant, just take one top and put it to the other. I have a video on that, so if you have not seen it, you should check it out. It's really easy to do. The success rates is really high, and it's a lot of fun, especially now because you can actually do it inside. Grow it in the mini size like this, and just cut one off and put it on the other plant. What is your recommendation for making hot sauce at home? Uh, have you seen my 15 minutes hot sauce video? That recipe took me a very long time to like kind of test and test and taste and test, and I came up with that 15 minutes recipe, and it is to me the best you know the best way to make hot sauce. It's very easy, and I usually make it when I have a parties, throw parties, right? And before the people come over, I would take all the peppers out, take about 15 minutes, and make those hot sauce, and you can use it right away. It's really good. You can even add fruits in there. So I added cantaloupes in there. I grow honey kiss melons, and I would chop a few pieces and put it in the hot sauce, and it is so good. So yeah, the 15 minutes hot sauce video, check it out. It's the best. I would recommend using that as your making your hot sauce. Have I ever used ground cherry for hot sauce? Yes, ground cherry and hot sauce are amazing because if you follow me, you know how much I love the ground cherries. Um, those cherries and a few super hots. Oh my God, the hot sauce! It's almost like eating honey hot sauce. It's so good. Yeah, honey kiss melons are really interesting varieties of melon. They're really crisp and kind of like the crunchy texture. They're beautiful, and the melons are just so big. I mean, it's so nice to grow. If you have not seen it, you should check it out. Thank you, Mr. Pig. Yeah, I guess you've been following for a while. Planting super hots for the first time in the garden beds. What type of spacing plants do you recommend? Okay, so when you grow pepper plants in raised bed, because raised bed they can grow very very big. So I would recommend about at least 2 feet apart because these plants can get enormous. I mean, you can actually. So sometimes I would put one plant in a raised bed and it will take the entire space. So if you put more than one plant, they will start to fight for space. So try to space them out at least 2 feet, especially when you're growing super hot. The actually more space is better. 3 to 4 feet is good because they're gonna grow so big. Did you know one of the most hottest pepper is grown in Trinidad? I'm sure. Yeah, the Trinidad scorpion is pretty darn hot, and I mean, I really can't tell how hot it is when it passed habanero variety because that is just too hot already. So those people that can eat a reaper like nothing is that's just nuts for me. But yeah, Trinidad has a bunch of great varieties, and the Trinidad Scorpion is probably one of my favorite. Yes, I do plant peppers from Trinidad. Um, uh, the Trinidad Scorpion is one. I think Moruga Scorpion maybe from there too. I'm not sure, but those two are also some of my favorite. Moruga Scorpion have always been one of those varieties that I always keep seeds around because every once in a while I have to grow those. They're just great varieties. Yes, I do use liquid nutrients in the self-watering buckets. Um, so, in the self-watering bucket, at the bottom, there's a gap. So once roots come through the gap, you can pour nutrients into that gap, and the root will crawl down there and pick it up, and it will actually takes place of fertilizer, and it'll make your plant grow really really fast. But try not to pour liquid nutrients through the soil. And the reason I say that is because if you notice that over time, nutrients will dry up and create this calcium deposit. Like if you ever grown in a AeroGarden, it create deposit. So when you keep pouring nutrients into the soil like that, deposit will remain. So, to prevent that from happening, try not to pour it through the soil. Only when the roots come out of the gap into the reservoir, then you pour the nutrients into the reservoir. And that's the best way. Hey there, Nate. Thanks for joining the chat. Fab, yes. peach ghost scorpion is also my favorite. I guess I have so many favorites, but the peach ghost scorpions, it's a beautiful variety. It is actually one of the hottest that I've tried. I mean, that thing is just scorching hot, and it looks beautiful. If you guys have not grown the peach ghost scorpion, I recommend it. And I'm actually growing one this year, so I will show you guys once they produce peppers. Do you know what is bird pepper? Yes, a lot of people call the bird pepper like the pekins. Pekins are usually called bird peppers or wild peppers. There's bird's eye pepper, and I think the reason they call it bird pepper is because the birds actually love them. They actually eat the peppers, and then they fly somewhere else, and then they poop, and then the peppers will grow again. So those are usually the wild peppers. I think that's what you're talking about, right? And I actually grow pekins for many years. It's a great variety to grow. It's really fun and pretty, but it's not fun when you have to harvest it because there's so many. There's like thousands of peppers on it, and when you pick them when they're red, sometimes you touch them, they just drop. So it's like it's a big challenge try to keep the stem on that pepper. Yeah, the burst pepper. That's right. They're everywhere. I mean, I grow pekins 1 year, and then after that, you grow it forever because they'll drop, or the birds will eat them and drop, and they'll grow everywhere. Ponton peppers. Thank you. I'm glad you guys enjoyed my video. Yeah, you guys should definitely make a cross. Um, I think you told me before, Violet Wrath. Oh wow, that's a good name. I like that. It's kind of have like a Violet and Wrath. Well, it's almost like opposite spectrum. Violet is something nice and pretty, and then Wrath is like really strong and you should, yeah, definitely do that. And if you are successful, I would love to trade some seeds with you just to grow Violet's Wrath. Oh, Harry, yes. I'm glad you won the giveaway. So hopefully, you find those seeds, to put it to good use. The ahi habanero has no heat, but it is an amazing peppers. I mean, I love those things. Every time I grow those, I go out to the garden, I just eat them because they taste so good. And the peppers are also very pretty, and they produce so many fruits. So yeah, hopefully you grow those because I haven't grown it for a while. So share some pictures if you do grow them because I really miss that variety. Is super hot in 5 gallon bucket recommended? So Mr. Vader, the reason why I grow super hot in buckets is because I live in Texas. And in the summer, like in July and August, the temperature could get into the 100 degrees Fahrenheit. And super hots are very sensitive to high heat. So they would drop all the flowers. And then if you grow them in the buckets, like I do in extreme heat, you can take the buckets and move them into the shades. And that is the reason why I grow them in buckets. But in the ground is always the best because it gives them space to move around. And, the more space without restriction, the bigger and better they grow. Have I ever grown Charleston cayenne? No, I have not. That sounds like a great variety, though. Cayennes are always nice variety of peppers because I think they're just pretty and they produce a lot also. Um, I always like varieties that produce a lot, so I that's usually when I breed peppers. That's one of the traits that I try to keep. Any advice for new super hot grow in half winter and half summer climate? Okay, so if your summer is short, start the seeds indoors. Start them around maybe 2 months before you can take them outside. Because when you start them indoor and get them to be around, big enough, then you take them outside. They only need 2 months to like get acclimated and all that stuff, and then you can have fruits if you have a short summer. So yeah, definitely if you have a short season, grow it indoors and then take them outside when they're ready. When you're crossing, how can you be sure flowers doesn't self pollinate before you transfer the pollen? You can actually, because when you cross pollinate, you pick a flower that has not opened yet, because when they're not open, they haven't produced pollen, and then you pull off all of those petals, and then take another pollen and put it onto that flower, and that's how you secure it. What I've done many videos on crossing. You should check it out. Um, yeah, I think someone had mentioned about mulberry with hot sauce. I haven't made mulberry hot sauce myself, but I have tried some that some friends gave me, and that is, yeah, they're really good. Mulberry and hot peppers into sauce. I think in jam also really really good. Um, oh, speaking of jam, man, I haven't spoken to Scott Tippett in a while. So Scott makes these amazing pepper jam. I think you could find him on Facebook. Uh, he makes this really really good pepper jam, and he sent me a bunch a few seasons ago, and man, those things are amazing. So yeah, if you guys have ever made pepper jam, uh, you should try it. It's actually really really good. Yeah, thank you for watching those videos. I started crossing peppers a while back, and the reason I made the videos is because I couldn't find one that showed the details that I need. Because, when you cross peppers for the very first time, it's almost like, you don't know what to do, and there's just so many questions. And so when I made those, I made it in a way where these are the questions that I had when I tried to cross in the past. And the video was made after I successfully created many varieties already. So with all those trials and practices and all that stuff, I was able to try to make it as simple as possible. How to grow peppers in clay soil? Actually, not too difficult, because you can dig out the clay and then mix in softer soil in that hole, and then put your pepper in, and that should work. Because peppers, they will eventually move around within that space, and will go into the clay. But if you have soft soil around the clay, like around the hole, that will help the pepper grow. Has anyone ever crossed a reaper with a ghost? I think they have. There's a um, gosh, somebody did it on Facebook. Um, I need to find that person, but yeah, that someone has done it. There's a reaper cross with a moruga scorpion that I'm growing right now. There's a reaper cross with a J peach ghost scorpion, and I think they call it the California reaper. I'm not sure, but there's one, the J's peach ghost scorpion cross with the reaper. I really want to grow those. I think I have seeds for that. They're really cool. Do I dry my seeds in the dehydrator before storing them? No. Usually, what I do is I'll cut the peppers open and take the seeds out and put it into like a little container and just let it air dry. The lemon starburst seeds are actually pretty easy to get. If you join the Facebook community, make friends. Just talk to those people. They trade seeds all the time. I mean, I mean, those are for giveaway. So you see Starburst seeds given out. Like I think everyone on the Facebook group has it. Yeah, Facebook pepperlovers.com. You should check it out. But make some friends first, because I think when you go on the Facebook and you just ask for seeds, people normally don't reply. But if you stick around and talk to people and become friends, they'll just give you so many seeds you're probably not gonna know what to do with. Reapers goes are the freshest seeds come from pucker butts. Yeah, I haven't seen Reaper Ghost on or where to buy them, but I think they're around. Great. I'm glad Violet was sending me some seeds. Awesome. Thank you. I would grow Violet's grass. All right, guys. So I think I'm gonna take off now. It's great talking to you guys. I hope that uh, I answer a lot of the questions that you guys are wanting to ask. Um, I'm going to continue with some of the grow series this summer, and I have some interesting varieties that I'm going to show you soon. So I- I'll 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 upload those videos once they're ready. But yeah, thanks guys. So hope everyone stays safe, and I'll talk to you guys another time.